Alright, we're gonna try something different. Straight looping, baby. So, what is it? May 22nd. I don't even know when I made the Join the Ride video. I started making music or rapping, freestyling in the Whipski, in the ACK. Now we're in the Fusion. But yeah, I just kind of want to talk about my experience, or I guess the background to what I believe I've been documenting or circling, transmuting, working through the highs, the lows, all that stuff, mental health. Yeah, there's a lot wrapped up, I guess, in what came to be Infinite Play. Man, I don't even know where to start, but it feels good to be doing this. Teeth out, as usual. Not by choice, per se. The Glocky got a little too hot, and Karma's a bitch, but she's fair. And, yeah, so post clearing or whatever. But no, what I wanted to say is, again, just my testimony, my story of what I feel I've been doing, which sounds weird, but that's just kind of how I operate. I never really had a plan. I just felt this pull one night to, I was at a low point, just kind of questioning purpose, really just like seeking for answers, done with, I don't even know, just like feeling that low point. And I remember just feeling like a pull on my chest, and I'm gonna try to not do it a lot in this video, but I tend to be not to sound weird, not to sound crazy, or like stop myself, but just what I felt was like, again, I felt that pull, that lift up in this time of like crying out. I cry. Men cry, women cry, everyone cries. We all cry. Shout out Frank. But yeah, so once that happened, I mean, this was again probably, I think 2023. Time, it really feels weird for me right now. I think I'm at a point now where I'm gonna reflect on just what I've done, and not really reflect on what I've done, just reflect on everything from this vantage point now. But yeah, I guess where I'm at now, another check-in. I feel like I've gone through a spiritual journey, a spiritual awakening, and I felt very isolated in my mind. And it was challenging because, I was in a relationship at the time, and this low point in this moment, I feel like it's, like I said, of what I felt was like God's hand reaching and pulling me up, right? Like, because like the next day I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start doing all this stuff that I've always wanted to do. I always wanted to mess around with FL Studio, or I love music or rapping. I always loved freestyling, and like, it's not that I wasn't doing those things, but I was like looking at just music and like, what, like, shit, I'm gonna try. And even through that too, it's like kind of like, again, I'm taking in just what I've seen, and I was working my full-time job. I work in marketing, digital marketing. So I was working and stuff, but I just felt like I just didn't feel like my soul, or like I don't know. So I needed to, like, okay, or again, after crying out, just like, what do I do here? Like, just felt like I had no money, just fucking, like, you know, life shit. It's life shit. It's everyone's, and, you know, I'm thankful for mine maybe being just a little bit more mental than, you know, life is, there's a lot. People go through a lot. I don't think we're alone in what we go through. I think the experiences we go through may be different, but like grief, loss, pain, I don't think that's like human. I think that idea of that we have to suffer to grow is that's tricknology. That's, you know, maybe we'll get to that a little bit later once I just let this stream of consciousness rip off. But and this is what I do. This is what the music was. The freestyle was a container for some of the darker ways where I can't articulate this, but, you know, I can just get the emotion off. I don't even know what I was, well, I do know what I was saying now. I like, you know, I like flipping kind of just simple words, but my stream of consciousness, and as I piece them together, like, I think I'm telling a story. It's an iceberg, and again, maybe I'm making and giving meaning after the fact, but as I reflect on just, again, my body of work, which I feel has been the documentation, has been a digital journal that I can now truly close and open, to hopefully just whoever wants to take a gander and explore it. It's like my graffiti on the internet. But or I don't even know what I was talking about before that, but, or yeah, so just like that was the container for, the rapping, like, it's the anger, the frustration, the things that you're not allowed to show, I think, as, people, men, black men, you know, I think there's a lot of intersectionality. At least what I was trying to explore here was not, you know, I think we all have human experiences. And I was getting that out in a way that I felt was safe. And again, this is what I think hip hop is, like, or at least, you know, what I believe music is, right? So I just wanted to do my own version of it. And then as I'm going through it, like, I'm starting to see, you know, I would like have a creative burst and then frame it, and then I'm like, whoa, stuff's kind of like going in like a timeline, or like, I don't know. And obviously because I'm like constantly referencing like myself, because I was very inward here, so I'm like putting stuff out, then I'm like reflecting on it, and so it's very much like this recursive inner work that I felt I was doing, but I didn't really know it at the time. I mean, as I started to I started to get more into like spirituality, reconnecting. I grew up, you know, probably like Catholic and religious background, but, you know, having an open mind to like beyond that in both directions. Like, I think religions are languages of a similar, they're languages of a more divine kernel. Like, there's one tree, and then these are just branches of that tree, but like it all like the root is the same. I don't know. That's just kind of what I've come to right now, and I'm still on my journey. I don't think you reach a point of it ever ending. I think that's life. So this is what this check-in is, I guess, maybe just giving a little background on, and not that anyone's even really wondering what I'm doing, but a little background of what the fuck, what's going on. And to me, you know, I think there's a level of ego shedding and ego death, and what is ego in this life or situation. And you know, it's funny, I can get up there and post me rapping, but this right now has been something that I feared or like didn't want to do for the longest, and at this point I really don't. Like, it's like, because of what I feel I've come to, I don't care anymore. I'm detaching from from that, because this is what refills me, is being able to talk and talk about, I guess, my experience. But I think we all, again, it's human. So with all that, again, I go on my tangents. So I appreciate people that just stick along with me, and because my mind goes in a bunch of different places, but I try to stay on track. But yeah, it's just freestyling and getting that container out, hip-hop, anger, frustration, and through that, working through my mind, working through my mental health, working through like how I'm viewing the world. I'm realizing like things that are making me angry, and dealing with like my emotions, my emotional intelligence. Like, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? I want to reflect of like, I started to see like, am I like, is this thing triggering me? And then I'm responding, and okay, then I respond, and then I'm not really paying attention to like the quickness of which the karma comes back, right? But I think, again, where I'm at now, I'm just reflecting of like, this is very internal. So like, unless I externalize my entire life for 3 years, and like you guys can see me every day and see what I was going through, or not see what I was going through, but just like, I don't know, like have more than these like check-ins, I guess. But like, yeah, so it's like very internal of like what's triggering me to do things, why am I building these things. And then I'm coming across like languages. There's points where I'm like watching TV too sometimes, and I feel so focused and in it that I'm like, is this show talking to me? And like just these weird like moments. And I think we should normalize. I know Deontay Kyle's talked about it with Taylor Cummings podcast, on his podcast with Dr. Taylor Cummings, but just this idea of like normalizing maybe this psychosis or this renewal of the mind, or stretching thin of like, you know, I like Westworld as a show, like questioning your reality. Like I got really into that. I never really was like, I went to school for sociology, and you know, I didn't really get into philosophy. I was just going there drinking and partying, and like even just that, like, I mean, I was paying attention, I think, enough. I graduated and got through it, but you know, again, just all these things I'm discovering about myself as I'm just like, after this moment that I had, of just like letting go and like committing to something I wanted to do, which was make music, learn how to make music. I love albums that are sequenced. I love concepts. I love making those connections. Like I love like New York Times connections, like seeing just how the underlying patterns of things, like the invisible structure of things, which I don't really want to keep talking about, you know, my work. I guess that I will let people experience. But yeah, like the initial start of that was this pull, and then again, as I'm going through things, and I'm creating like like Hermes popped in, like all these things that are tying into why I'm like making these albums or EPs or whatever. Like the concepts are just kind of like me going through my life and like seeing connections, being aware and attentive to things, and feeling like it's like part of me co-creating something with the divine, with God. I believe in God, universe, nature. Shout out KRS-One. Again, like, and I think the divine speaks through people, places, and things. And you know, I think we are also that. We're part of nature. And I think as I've again continued, these 3 years, man, have been sort of this whirlwind, this fog. I've had to again, mine was more mental health, going through different fogginess, moods, and you're told, you know, take a pill. I was mixed diagnosed with bipolar disorder, And I know as soon as you say that, I think people are like, what? But that also is very disproportionate in the black community, which I think I want to do more research on, talk about more. I've been reading W.E.B. Du Bois and double consciousness and this idea of the veil. So like we'll get into like some of the deeper icebergs. That's also what I wanted to say when I was rapping. Like I've come recently to like Hemingway, his iceberg style of like using, you know, simple language or like the pop culture language, but having underlying meaning, like the tip of the iceberg. Like that's what I was intuitively doing, or I didn't realize it. So then I start to get more like, what was going on? What's flowing through me? I'm connecting these pieces. I'm like, I feel like I'm part of this lineage. I'm trying to do my ancestry at a certain point in time. Like I'm just going through like whatever, man, whatever this is. And I'm so happy that I'm like at where I'm at now, because I can just be at peace with like, man, this shit is, and I'm grateful for that I've been able to do this. And I hope that one day, I'm just gonna like, because that's what this whole thing I guess I even started talking about was like, I feel like what I've come to and discovered is like there's universal laws, like Hermetic principles, I guess, would be my anchor. But again, I think those same 7 principles, or they exist across all of these other religions, or again, just languages. It's like, you know, Spanish versus freaking, you know, Italian and French. Like, I don't know, but we're all like, it can be translated, right? So I don't know, I feel like there's like this core language. So, but for me, Hermetics just is what makes sense to how I was moving and perceiving things. And I think again, I'm not the only one. I don't think I'm the only one that knows this. I'm just telling you my journey. I think we all go through different journeys at different ages. I just turned 30. I know Saturn return is like a thing, and I don't know if everyone, and maybe you go through more. So just bear with me. I'm new to this. But yeah, so I'm like, okay, these are universal laws. And it starts, mentalism is number 1. I'm dealing a lot with my mind. I'm dealing a lot with like feeling like, okay, what is karma? What is manifestation? You know, I was introduced to these things via tarot and you know, astrology, and coming from a Christian home or background or Catholic home where this isn't really talked about, like that can be like bad. But my mom, like, and it's funny because I feel like I'm biracial, or whatever that means. I'm mixed, whatever you want to call it, black and white. And my dad, shout out Pops, but you know, Christian background, very like the word, you know, and I think that is real. That's true. The word is logos, is like, so again, it just, I feel like I'll try to lay it out or talk about it more when I can, at least in my view. But I feel like, again, the kernel starts here, and then everything is just like an iteration of it. And then my mom is like witchy, but she's also, you know, she believes in God and symbols and all these things. And I think these are, again, all different languages and symbols of people's experiences over time, or translations over time. And not all of them maybe they're all neutral, the symbols, right? They're all part of a practice. They're all rituals. They're all spirituals. But the practice itself is neutral. The universal laws themselves are neutral. And what I mean by universal laws themselves is not like tarot isn't a law, but it has, like, it's a practice within another. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I need to do more research too. But I guess from where I'm at right now is like, okay, I'm looking at just how I view concepts and connections. I like patterns. I like the underlying structure of like theology, I guess, maybe, or whatever it may be. So again, going back to, and like, I didn't come to this, like, I didn't set out and read this stuff and then like want to do the music or want to do anything. This is like me just following that inner child, that inner pull, that consciousness, that soul, whatever was trying to come out. I just followed that and had faith in that, despite many ups and downs, many highs and lows, many like breakdowns and breakthroughs. And again, as I'm learning Hermetics, like polarity and this pendulum swing, and that everything is like half of the same coin, right? So like these this is, and then I'll lose it for a second, but I'll catch it back up. But just like, I don't know, there's videos too that probably explain it better, but it's like the same reaction. And I forgot what I was saying before this. I'll probably have to rewind it or chop it up. Maybe no, though. I kind of want to just be a stream of consciousness because I come back around. But the like, you understand, like, yeah, like it's they're universal laws. So the practices themselves, like good and bad, is just like this sort of, they're the same thing. I think it's more of the practitioner that would be, right, what you would be concerned about, because I'm not the only one that has knowledge of these universal laws, I assume. So that's where we get into like wickedness in high places, or what if we live, and not to be fearful, because that's the thing, it's like the same side of the same thing. Like fear and joy are just two different spectrums or ends of the same emotion, right? That's like part of, I guess, the polarity. And please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, or you know, I want this to be discussion. I love discussion. I do feel like, you know, I'm still on my journey, but what I've come to right now is this, and I'm not saying this to be preachy. I'm just trying to tell my perspective. But I think if these universal laws are to be true with mentalism, and again, I'm just tying it, like, I just like tie it back to like, that's what I've been working through in my mind. Mental health, again, polarity, what are we trying to discuss here, and like misdiagnosis and experiences, anger, frustration, joy, emotions, your emotions as a human being, regulating your emotions, growing as a human, experiencing this stuff, but understanding that like internally, as a system within a system, you do have, according to Hermetics, like, the universe is mental, so your reality is mental. And I think it's important that we talk about having a mental health crisis here in the United States, and mental health crisis, everything's mental health, yet we're talking about it from like the perspective of medication and capitalism and just all these different ways in which I think are just still just different manifestations of probably the deeper root that I believe we would need to get at. Would be like, okay, if we live in a society where you can't really be fully in tune, or if everything is mental, and we live in a society that clearly mental health is an issue because of the way things maybe are set up, inundated with information, TV, news, fear, it all lowers your frequency, and you're not able to really operate at a high frequency, which would be this ability to like co-create your reality in connection with something higher than yourself, higher planes of consciousness, and things like that. So, and I feel like these are rants, I guess I've been told, but I don't know. These are just things that I've worked through for the past 3 years, and I feel like, again, I've come to that, like, I don't want to live in fear of something that is man-made, and that's what home, HOMME, grown is for me. Is like, there's a level in which I feel like this is a petri dish of people that understand these universal laws and higher concepts and levels, right? And we are in here, and by in here, I just mean like it's just we're constantly just in a lower energy, and I think people that are able to find that higher energy within it are people that are able to create, artists, teachers, like, I don't know, just, and I don't even know what I'm trying to say at that point. So again, I'm getting off here, but what if we lived in a society that basically nurtured and was designed more around these principles, actually, not an organized religion, not whatever. And I feel like that's again where like that becomes a man-made manipulation of the universal laws, right? The natural of things. And if we were able to, I don't have the answers, but like this is what I feel like I'm working toward now, or this next chapter, or just check-in of just reflecting. And I'm gonna, release, like, I need to move with more intention now that I'm understanding mentalism, cause and effect, the law of correspondence, the pendulum swing, and all of these things. And you gotta be able to ride the waves of the actions in which you are putting forth in the world, right? Like, I think a lot of the times it's hard to be conscious of or not hard to be, but at least for me, I know I was moving in an unconscious manner. Like, I'm not paying attention to what I'm putting out, realizing that that's what comes back in different ways and different intensities, understanding these things about self, mastering self. And, I don't think those types of things are taught here. It's not taught. You're not taught to master yourself. You're taught to be able to be mastered. And, people may have their opinions about that, but I think if we just were able to design things and communities and stuff around these principles, then all of a sudden people are now able to master themselves in the sense of going inward. And I don't even want to go too far that, like, because I think people are real, but a lot of the times understanding like how energy works and the mirroring of like even your output, unconscious or conscious, and how it's going to come back to you, and with quicker awareness you actually see it come back to you faster. As your awareness expands, you see the reflection of your decisions, your internal world, your internal thoughts. You see that reflected quicker back to you the more aware you are, because you're seeing these signs, these connections, these synchronicities, these feelings when people are talking to you through the TV, or you just meet this random person and like they say something that it just hits, where it's like, damn, like, were you just in my, like, what happened here? And like, I think those moments are normal, and I just, again, feel like I had to go through that kind of alone and work through this alone, to where I wasn't able to like say that like, yo, this and this is connecting for me. And I'm realizing that's like a core of the Hermetic principles, is patterns and underlyings of how, like, again, I can respect the practice, but like I'm looking at, okay, well, what is the practice for? So if you're saging something, right, like that smoke, and that's like a grounding material thing that is shifting your mindset. Is the smoke itself actually like some magical thing? Yeah, I mean, it's the meaning you give it, and we're all internal. We all have our own experiences. So I don't really believe in people like telling you what meaning is. I think there's a reason why people make meaning and give meaning to things, and I think that goes back to symbols and all of that. And those are neutral too. They have no thing. It's how they're used. You can show, like, I don't know, like, Christianity is a great example, because you can use this thing to liberate. Like, Christianity and all that was very liberating to Black Americans and people, but also that same book and that same thing was justified to enslave them. So like, that is but to me, like that gives to the idea that like it's the same thing. So it's the practitioner. So again, I'm going off on a bunch of different things, but what I wanted to end here with and just say is like, I don't know. I'm just grateful that I've gone through all of this. All the stuff that's out right now is sort of just what my mind was like as I was going through the fog, or my own hero's journey, giving it a container to be able to not crash out or end up in a place where you're out of the game. I don't think anyone's coming to save us in that sense, but I do feel saved. I feel like I got beamed up. My consciousness was expanded. I was resurrected. I was reborn, had a second life. Lazarus, Jesus, beamed up by the aliens. They were giving me experience, like, whatever it is, man. I'm just happy. Like, I don't care about being weird. I don't care if I make any damn sense. Because I feel I'm at peace. I'm at peace right now in this moment, having faith in God, universe, nature, my awareness. This next step of my journey of trying to live out these principles, still create, honor it, honor the practice, honor the transmutation, honor myself. I want to live aligned because I want to love. I want to give deeply. I want to share, and sometimes it can be chaotic. But chaos, like, again, it's balance. You need chaos is what causes change. This all was created via chaos, whether you believe it was science and the Big Bang, or someone made those big ass things bang, like someone or something or whatever it is, man. But like, through chaos comes change, through chaos comes clarity, through and I don't think we're designed to suffer, though. That's my point. Like, I think this can be, we've suffered it. Now it's like we don't need to continue to suffer to experience this. We need to learn from that, and maybe people that are in power or whatever. I think as we start to see things, like, again, I don't think this is new. I don't think I'm alone. I feel alone because I don't talk about these things, because, like, I sound fucking, I don't know, or at least I used to feel like I sound crazy, but fuck it. And I don't care how I come across. I really, like, I just want to share, and I want to be able to love. I want to be able to give. It takes a lot to give, but that's the beauty of being, like, aligned in the, I don't know, because it's like you get that replenishment from the source. And I think, again, if we're able to set up and live in a society where the principles of emotional intelligence, integration, and just processing all the trauma that we may have gone through already generationally, and just acknowledging that, making the change, and again, it's all pretty much, I believe it's internal. I believe I can't come together or come with, I couldn't get to this point to be able to speak about this or with anyone else unless I did it myself first. And I feel like, whether that's relationships, loving yourself, loving another person, loving life, loving the world, like, you can't enter into that relationship loving God, loving the universe, loving nature, loving anything. You can't love until you love yourself. And I don't think, at least in my current, what I had to work through was I didn't. And I think there's internal things, generational things, external things, all these things that stick with you. And that's why media is a big thing for me, is I feel like, again, if it's about what is in your mental, and some of this stuff is just not good for that. And then just beyond that, just certain other structures, like, no, you're not really given the opportunity. You're just kind of living in fear and scarcity a lot, and that's, unless for a select few. And again, that varies at different levels too. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna end it here. I think I touched on what I wanted to touch on. I hope that this can have some discussion, or oh shit. Like, I'm not crazy. I don't feel crazy. I don't want to get sent to the loony bin. I just want to share. I really wanted to, I guess, defend a little bit too of like, this is me. This is all me. And I hope that there's others. I just want to, I want to love life again. But I feel like all this stuff was necessary, and I just appreciate everyone rocking with me. I'm not talking to anyone. I don't even. I just everyone in my life, and I'm not going anywhere. I don't feel those things anymore. So, not that I don't feel those things. Like, I definitely still have, it's the pendulum, the lows. But I want to learn to really lean in, and again, I don't want to tell anyone what to do, but I want to live my life, at least, with these principles in mind. And I hope, again, if we are all one, or society, one love, choose love, like, that's all I mean when I say, like, when I externalize my things to society. But I feel like that's like the micro, the macro, the fractal nature of, like, reality, consciousness. Like, I love all this shit, and I'm gonna figure out how to, like, dial it in, I guess. But I kind of just like also laying it out there, and that's the fun part, is once you lay it all out there, then it's like a puzzle. And but a fun one, a one that is like makes life joyous. And I really want to lean into that. I really want to put that out there. I want to, I want to keep creating, and it's all about balance. Like, for those highs and those lows, I want to transmute that and stay aligned in where I want to be, and centered and coherent. And when I am able to be that, I'm able to be the human, the person that I want to be for others. And I mean that. So, making that promise to myself. But I appreciate, again, everyone in my life. I'm not going anywhere, but I am going to fall back a little bit behind the scenes. I just feel like it's easier for me to maintain that, but I'll still be a frequency on the internet, or I just want to, again, move through life. And this is like my documentation of coming to this point. Hermes Bag, Marble Flows, ready and able. This is the checkpoint. Feels good to just get this shit off. So much love, everyone. And peace out. I don't have a tagline yet, but stay up. Actually, no, I do. Yeah, stay up. That's I do. Stay up. Yes. Peace and love.